Hope this video is reaching you well. So this is one of the most awaited videos I think that I'll ever make. So this is entitled 7-Day Dry Fast, the gist and the verdict. I will go straight with our topic as I might be losing internet connection anytime now. I'm still in my retreat and the connection here is not that good. So I may skip all the greetings. But before I proceed with our main topic, I will need to have my disclaimer. So even if I'm a physician, I am Dr. Chua Rojo. This video will not serve as my personal directive or my personal advice to the viewers. And if you decide to follow the inputs you can get from this video, it will not serve as our patient and physician relationship since we did not conduct any of that. So I'm sharing this mainly because to educate, to document, and share with you my own personal experience. So I have my own reasons, and I will go with that one by one later. And what is important is for you to just be knowledgeable that this thing exists. Okay, so I myself was not familiar with dry fasting before. So, I've been on water fasting, but I somewhat did not explore much on dry fasting. So, to give you a background, especially if this is your first time to be watching in my channel and my page and also in Good People TV and Global TV Network. Thank you so much for this platform. I am Dr. Grace Rojo, and recently I did a 7 days of dry fasting. So I started last February 21 around 10 in the evening, and I ended it up only this morning. It's already March 1. So a total of I think around 179, almost 180 hours. So the people are asking what. So I've done some research, and there are a lot of experiences and testimonials that dry fasting is damn good. And one of the most catchy for me, I think, was its effect on longevity. So it is said to add up to 25 years in a person's lifespan if done right and done 1 to 4 times a year consistently. Okay, so I'm curious with that. It's something that I'd like for my mom to have. So my mom is already 66. Hello, me. And I, of course, I will not make her try anything that I think would put her in danger. So what else? How else can I do it than test it myself? Test it first myself, and of course for you also, since I'm a very skeptical person. I may appear as somewhat radical, as somewhat unconventional, but this is also after a very very long process of skepticism, a very long process of critical thinking, and eventually I was enlightened on my own, and there's no way for me to prove that it's really working or not, since we can't rely on just layman's terms. So I have to try it myself. So the longest water fasting I did was 12 days and a half. And this time it's my longest dry fasting. That is without food or water. I know it sounded extreme. So first we will discuss what to prepare, or yes, what to prepare with dry fasting. So we have a lot of things that we need to do, but the most important thing is the mindset. So with mindset, you will need the knowledge why and what are the benefits of these dry fasting. Because otherwise, you will not get convinced to do this if you don't have the right reasons for doing so. And other than knowledge is also the will. How badly do you want it? So for the benefits, if you already know all the benefits and you can experience the benefits of water fasting. So basically, dry fasting is the same. It's just that it's faster, it's quicker, but there are another set of processes that only dry fasting can give and not water fasting. And to be specific, not only dry fasting, but dry fasting for at least 7 days. So 7 days dry fasting is also known as the Phoenix Protocol. So if you look that up, you can see this man. So his name is August Dunning. I think he's already about in his 70s or 80s, and he's been doing 7 days dry fasting regularly. So that is about 1 to 2 times a year. It is a protocol first discovered by Dr. Filanov, a Russian scientist. And as you know, for Russians, they can be quite extreme, but you know how superior they are when it comes to advances, especially in human strength and human capacity. You know, their soldiers are way more superior than many other soldiers. So one of their tools is actually dry fasting. So dry fasting has been practiced by certain Russian scientists and practitioners for more than 50 years. And with dry fasting, there is this process that cannot be tapped with water fasting, and that is actually removal of toxins from our fat cells, including all those metallic and more toxins, because our fat cells, although it is a storage form of energy, it can also store a lot of toxins over time, like mercury, like so many other toxins that can get buried there. So what dry fasting does what dry fasting does actually is you will push your fat burning, because with water fasting you are not eating anything, so you will be burning fats because you need energy, so you are forcing your fats to burn and converted because you need the ketones for energy. However, with dry fasting, you are actually not just inducing fat burning for your fats because of ketones, but more importantly, you are needing water more than you need energy. So your fat burning is actually doubled. So this is the reason why during the first 2 days I experienced the transition into ketosis earlier. So in 1 to 2 days, I'm already fat adapted. So we will discuss later how fat adaptation is different from just ketosis. So ketosis is just merely working, or it's just merely processing or running on a fuel from ketones. But adaptation is your body can tolerate well without any side effects, because even if you're on ketosis, but say for example it's your first time to be in ketosis, you might not be able to adjust well. So you won't feel anything good or you might even feel sick. So for others, you can have symptoms of what we call as keto flu. So they're all that. But when you are fat adapted, you are running well on fats, and I will show you later because actually, this morning I woke up early and I took blood chemistry. So I got my blood test to see where I go, especially my electrolytes, because that's one of the most important thing to balance between during fasting, because that's actually one of the things that people are very scared about, to have electrolyte loss, electrolyte imbalance, and dehydration as well. So we will get into that later. So with mindset, you have to know the benefits, and with that Phoenix protocol, it's actually saying that on average, for those people who have been practicing it, their lifespan increased up to 25 years. So if our lifespan, for example, is 75 years old, especially if you are already taking care of our health, imagine if we can increase that into 100. And 7 days is just the number that they've been using. But on further research, actually, people actually go on dry fasting for as long as 20 days and they actually feel good. But for now, I didn't push through with that, especially that I only plan on 7 days. So, and given that I will need to be productive. So, although I did the 7 days, but I wasn't very much productive the way that I wanted to. Yes, I still work. Yes, I still continue to do most of my tasks, but there are other tasks that I need to do that I need to stay active. Otherwise, it will be a waste on my routine because seldom do I get a break this long away from my home, away from my clinic, away from the cafe, away from our businesses, and all other physical and even emotional responsibilities. So I'm needing this break. So that's the reason why I didn't push through later. But actually this morning I even felt better than I did on day 6 and day 7. This long pathway, so you multiply this by I think around 5 before we reach the main gate of this place. The other day when I went out, I feel like I'm fainting along the way. But actually, this morning, I felt so good, like normal day, like as if I'm not even fasting at all. So I think my fat adaptation is already at its peak, meaning I am no longer needing any need for more sugar or whatever. And since my fat stores are fully activated, that my all of my body that can run on fuel using ketones are actually doing it well. So that is the most important thing about the benefits of dry fasting that you need to do in order for you to get the right mindset. So if you don't believe it, it's okay. You can do your own research, and if you don't believe it, so you don't need to do it at all. But if you think you can benefit from it, so you can do your own research, and maybe someday we can do some guidance, personal coaching on dry fasting. And so comes knowledge once you are determined, say, for example, that you would like to avail the benefits of dry fasting, you can start with the will. So your will also be needed in order for you to sustain dry fasting because it wasn't really easy. I think it will never be easy. Otherwise, if it's easy, everybody can do it. But it's not easy. That's why not so many people can do it. So your mental strength must be at the top at the top as well. So how can you have a strong mental health? So a strong mental strength that is strong. So how can you have a strong mental strength? And just like physical exercise, mental strength also needs exercise. So I've been telling you that I'm not actually very fond of doing regular exercise yet, but don't worry. Hopefully, I will be soon. But actually, what I've been exercising is my mental strength, my willpower, my mental conditioning. That's what I've been exercising. I think that's the reason I was able to sustain this long dry fasting. So what I did initially is I did a daily dry fasting. I started with about 14 hours. So for others who have not done dry fasting, so you can do 12 hours, just like when you first did with your intermittent fasting. But this time you consider dry fasting. So for my mom, for example, what she's doing now is doing the normal intermittent fasting, but in addition, aside from not eating, she's also not drinking. And the moment and my brother also did that, Andrew. So what he's doing now is he is not eating and drinking during that intermittent fasting period. And by the time that, say for example, 8 and 6 or 16 8, 16 8, so on the 16th hour, and pardon for my mucus, and that is still part actually of the cleansing of fasting in our body. it will manifest where you are needing to heal. So mine, as you all know, I have allergic rhinitis. So I've actually been having very clear sinuses, but there are bouts of sudden increase of mucus secretions. And it's actually part of the cleansing of our body when it comes to healing. So what he is doing now is on the 16th hour he will take water. So that's how that's how he does his dry fast, but he doesn't eat right away. He can prolong it until he can, and that's the time that he will now take his food. So it's just that it's like a normal intermittent fasting, but with a shorter fasting window for water than for food. Okay. So what I did is I did that and slowly increase it 1 hour at a time or 2 hours at a time until I easily went to 24 hours of no water intake. And if you've been following me, say for example, since last year, I think, when my brother was hospitalized and was admitted in COVID ward, so I am the only one who can enter there on my full PPE suit, and I cannot go out until his lab result of COVID negative will be released. So I stayed there for I think around 30 hours and no water and also no food. So that's my first conscious and deliberate and forced dry fasting. So I know I can tolerate the 24 hours. But this time, after I did 24 hours, I made it into 48. And then I also did a 3 day water fasting. And the second one, even was the first one or second one that I even made a video of my laboratory result after the third day. So I uploaded in YouTube. You can search for it. You can read it there. So my blood values are actually somewhat okay, except for the minimal changes of my electrolytes, which was because I didn't prepare then. Okay, so I did a 3 day fast, dry fasting, and I continue on daily dry fasting. Dry fasting, it was easily became a norm for me. And when I was doing my weekly weekly fasting, I realized that during the first 24 to 48 hours of fasting, whenever I plan to do a water fasting or any extended fasting, actually, the first 2 days is easier when it is on dry fasting than water fasting. Because if I'm on water fasting during the first 2 days of extended fasting, I feel so restless. I feel so uneasy. So the adaptation to fasting is quite long. But with dry fasting, you wouldn't need to worry about what 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 how much to take and how much electrolytes that you need to supplement it with, because you are already you are already not consuming anything. So the balance of electrolytes and water in your system is actually intact, because if you just keep on drinking water and say for example you drink way more water than your electrolytes, you're actually losing electrolytes because your urine has a normal balancing system that it will have that balance of electrolytes in your system plus the urine plus the water that you need to excrete. So with dry fasting, you don't need to worry about that. So you can just focus on healing. And I think the only time that I feel like I needed I felt really thirsty was just the first 24 hours of dry fasting, or I think the first 16, 14 hours of dry fasting when it was conscious. And after that, I was already very, very used to dry fasting that I never felt thirsty upon waking up. Okay, so it's really quite good, which really tells me that dry fasting is actually more natural for us to do, especially on a day-to-day basis, just short dry fasting. So eventually, I did that 3 days, 2, 3 days, and I decided to go on my 7th day dry fast. Okay, so and for the preparation per se, that is the most important thing, the mindset. But after that one, we need to have physical preparation as well. So for dry fasting, they said that they compare it with water fasting like a vehicle. So with water fasting, you we will reach we can reach the same destination, but you are riding a car, driving a car on that. But with dry fasting, you are riding an airplane. So I'm I can be quite impatient, and since there's science to back it up, if you know me, my personality, I would really go for dry fasting. And it wasn't easy to recall, but it's really, really worth it. And I know I will do it again. Not, of course, anytime soon. Maybe next year or end of the year. But it's really, really worth it. What I feel now is what they say as renewed, somewhat energized, and even if I have not taken any food today, just the fluids, which I will talk to you about in a while, I feel full and energetic and at the top of my mental process. At least that's what I feel. Okay. So pre-fasting needs, you need to make sure that you are hydrated, hyd you are well hydrated. So if you are also part of Life Without Rice and the low carb feasting and fasting community, you can you can see there that I think I've been feeding too well before that. So I'm preparing actually for that coming fast. And most importantly, the electrolytes. So what is important is you have ample of electrolytes. Actually, I didn't take much. I think I just took one one magnesium tablet the day before, and just amp up on my salt. Aside from the salt that I eat, I made sure that I really have much salt before, and also one potassium before my fast. Even not even 2 days before, just the night before, and that's it. I know I've been eating well, and I went straight into dry fasting. So what is also important is to make sure that you fit it well with your schedule. So since I'm not new to fasting, and my work on the clinic, I do not have any surgeries that week, so I didn't schedule any surgeries, just the usual consultations. Bulk of our consultations are online, so there's not much physical work, but more on mental work. So I know I can take that. So, and I have my clinic bed for physical examination, which I also use for napping in between patients whenever I feel like I needed a nap. And I did that, and I know that after on the last 2 days, I will have a medical mission. So I know that would be hectic, but I just didn't expect it to be that hectic. I'm expecting around 50 to 60 patients, but what happened was we've had patients actually more than 100 patients. So that was quite exhausting. But it's okay. I've surpassed that, and come Sunday, I know I'll already be on this retreat, so I know I can just relax. So if you plan on doing that, you can also plan your days ahead, and most importantly, know the people that let the people know, especially close to you, your loved ones, that you'll be doing it. Okay, so that they will be informed as well, because it's very important that they know so that they can support you as well. And I would like to take this time to thank my brother, my loved ones, my mother, and even you guys, and everyone in our home and our clinic and our staff, that they've been very, very supportive with my dry fasting. That even if there are a lot of times that give up, I want to give up. And since we love each other, we just want to keep on supporting each other. But this time, they actually know that they didn't need to support me on my giving up, because they said, they even reminded me that if I will not do it this time, when will I do it again? Will there be another opportunity for me to have this break that I can do it? And true enough, I thank them that they've been there to support me. So if you wish to do it, it's better for having a support group. So our Facebook group community is also very, very good. My friends in Facebook, everybody, the moderators and admins in Life Without Horizon, guys, you all know who you are. And it is just making the journey easy. But if you think you do not have that support group, then I think you will need twice the mental strength that I have in order for you to sustain. And you can also take credit twice as much because you did it on your own. Okay? So comes that it's also important, once you now start your dry fasting, you need to keep a record of what you feel during the time, and be mindful of the things that might go overboard. So for the who can fast, anybody who are fit, healthy, mentally well, at the right mind, and not taking any medication. So if you are taking medications right now, you need to you cannot do dry fasting, because with dry fasting you cannot take them all. But if you think you can benefit from dry fasting without those medications, you can, and of course under the supervision of your physician, then you can do it. You can do that, and that's even good, because dry fasting is actually made for healing internally and spiritually. And the longer dry fast, the 7 day dry fast, is more on physical healing. The longer one will actually be more on spiritual side. But also there are a lot of uh, uses for others who did it for more shrinkage. So they do it to shrink the tumors. I don't have an experience with that, especially that I don't have any tumor. So with this dry fast, you have to be clear with your goals as to why you are doing it. So as for me, I actually do not have much fats to lose because I've been on my normal BMI. Although I know I still have fats to lose because I'm far from underweight. I'm far from being malnourished. So if we have a BMI I think I have a BMI of around 21 to 22, and the lowest BMI would be 18.5. So actually, that is still about 5 to 8, 5 to 10 kilograms away from being malnourished. So as you can see, I actually didn't focus on physical aspect this time. I didn't took any pre-fasting photo and even pre-fasting weight, although I have an idea what was my average weight then. But that is not my focus, because my focus is actually more on healing, and not just medical healing. Since my rhinitis is already in control, I do not have problem with my blood pressure or blood sugar. My allergies can even be controlled, which is daily fasting and low carb diet. So my major goal is actually to heal myself, especially my mental addiction on food. So I feel like I've been eating well. Whenever I feast, I really eat a lot, and I even eat more than my big brother's food plate. I can eat twice or thrice the food that he can take. So I think that is not normal. As you can see, whenever I show my feasting table, I think half of that I'm the one who eat. And the last time I ate on a Korean barbecue, we were just estimating it in my head, and I think I really ate about a kilo of pork, although it was OMAD, but still, that is just too much. So one of the ways that I want to deal with myself is food addiction, so that, and there's no other way to do it but with dry fasting, because with dry fasting you are deprived of nothing, and you will be longing for even just a drop of water. And since it's not given to you, you will now learn to appreciate every little thing that you can have. So when you are in the deep, deep part of the fasting, you can say to yourself that the moment I can have water, I will cherish it all my life. So that's really what happened. I learned to love water and I will appreciate water. And me and my friend are even talking that we feel like, because she's been dry fasting as well, we feel like we can now live with just soup alone. So whatever food there is, there's a soup in that, or there's like an essence or fluid in that, and that alone can already suffice us, because that's what dry fasting does. It makes you appreciate more. So if I can now appreciate water, so a little food will now be appreciated. And with fasting this long, it will now shrink my stomach, as in literally shrink my stomach, because our stomach is very, very elastic. It's like a balloon. So if you keep on eating large amount of food, which I've been doing, it I can maximize that to its full capacity of 1 liter, or even up to 1.5 liter maximum. So that's also about 1.5 kilos of food. So whenever I eat before, even if I know I can be okay with that food, but I cannot help but think of my physiology book, Guyton's physiology book, saying that the capacity of stomach is 1 liter. And I cannot help but have that self-talk that what I ate is far from 1 liter. So I still can eat more. So that has been my mindset. And I want to correct that. So I want to shrink my stomach so that I will be now contented with little food. So what's my plan actually after this, after I break this 2 weeks fast? Yes, I'm planning to do a full 14 days fasting, is to have my meals in small meals. So I know it's something that is frowned upon with fasting groups and with low carb groups, because we tend to eat in bulk. But I'm doing this for psychological reasons. So I will still stick with my 18 to 19 hours fasting window. But for that fasting window of 5 hours, I will no longer eat heavy meals. Instead, I will eat two two regular or small meals, and I can just have some nibs, little snacks from here and there on that 4 to 5 hours eating window. So that's the game plan. That's what I wanted to do. So now, what do we expect each day? So I will tell you what happened to me on day 1 to day 7. So day 1 and 2 actually is like the first 3 to 4 days of water fasting. So there's dry mouth, and there's also keto breath, and that's the transition of ketosis. Especially, I think I went a little overboard with my last meal, so the hidden carbohydrates were there. So I wasn't in ketosis beforehand. And during the first day, I really had keto breath. So since we've been wearing masks, so I can really sense my own breath, and we can see there I can see there that I'm into ketosis. I'm going deeper into ketosis, but come second day it's already gone. So there is this theoretical averaging that the benefits or the process that goes on with water fasting and dry fasting is actually in a factor of 3. So 1 day of dry fasting can be equivalent to 3 days of dry fasting, and 7 days of dry fasting is actually equivalent to 21 days of water fasting. So that is just a rough estimate, and somewhat I with my experience, it's somewhat, yes, that's what I felt. And on so very day 1 and day 2, I those smell was just very passing and just very regular, and nothing much to worry about. And it's actually easier than the first 1 to 2 days of water fasting. I've had a lot of burps. I passed out a lot of gas, but no bowel movement. And my pee when I urinate is ample. So I pee 3 to 4 times minimum 3 times, and 4 times, 4 to 5. I think there are days that I peed 5 times. And day three are the times I felt like giving in, but since it's not my first time, I pushed through since I want to surpass my previous 75 hours of fasting. And day 4 to 5, I think that was one of the hardest part when it comes to hunger pangs and thirst, and especially knowing that I think it's more on psychological really. So the battle of dry fasting is really psychological because you but otherwise I'm still alert. I work, and it's funny that there are times that I feel like weak and not so energetic, and my brother will, as my clinic manager, will tell me, do you want to feel energetic? And you go, why? I have a patient for you. So the moment there's a patient, online patient, it's just natural. I wake up right then and there and I do my consultations, and I think that my online consultation patients can see that I'm not sickly, I'm not whatever. And what was just important was for me to have a recovery period, even just a 5 minute or 10 minute just lying down. I don't even need to really sleep or take a nap, just to lie down, and it already leaves me. So day six, that was the most exhausting, and I wouldn't know if I'm resting. Maybe it could have been a lot better, or what, or maybe it also helped to make the process faster because I've burned more energy than I usually would, if ever. So I've seen 100 plus patients during that medical mission. So I was just the only doctor there. So all the patients went through me, and then I passed them to my medical team, which is my brother and my sister-in-law. They were in charge of coaching them on low carb nutrition, and the other one, my sister-in-law Angel, was the one in charge of educating them when it comes to fasting. So the practical fasting schedule, IF schedule for mothers, for children, even for elderlies, the lolas and lolas. So there were, I think the most remarkable as well was my patience. So my patience is at all-time low, so I cannot entertain any BS. And my sleep cycle is also very erratic. I can only sleep for about 2 to 3 hours. I wake up at 2, 3 a.m. until 5 a.m. and then I sleep again. So that's a common expected side effect of dry fasting, erratic sleeping pattern during that time. So that's actually nothing to worry about because it just shows how body is actually becoming more efficient, that you actually don't need much sleep. So there are a lot of gurus, fasting gurus, and other philosophers that are actually been used to sleeping for only 2 to 3 hours a day, and when they sleep for 6 hours, they feel like they've been sleeping too much already. But that is them. Okay, whatever works for you. So also what is remarkable, I experienced no cramps, no cramping. Before, on starting day 4, I was cramping already. So cramping is a very evident sign of electrolyte imbalance, so low sodium or low magnesium and potassium, but mostly magnesium and sodium. And if you feel your legs are becoming weak, that is more on lesser potassium. And usually that won't happen as long as your sodium or salt in the body is intact. So not really weakness, but just an overall. I've just had this an overall feeling of lethargy, like lying down. My mental capacity, my thinking is actually at the top. I'm very alert, but it's just that my body wants to rest, so I'm just lying down the whole time when I can. And cold shower re-energizes me on day 7, and it's good. It's really refreshing, but I think it's also one of the tricks of the water addiction in our body, that it needs any water that it can get. So that is why there's hard dry fasting. So hard dry fasting is no contact with water at all. But in Russian studies, they've found that there's very, very little difference. So insignificant difference between the two. So I think I'm willing to take the lesser benefit, the little lesser benefit of soft dry fasting than hard dry fasting. Hard dry fasting was usually done by very, what do you say, pro fasters when it comes to dry fasting, but they usually go on caves, on far away land that they really isolate themselves, and those are the ones that you can see that all the hairs are all growing everywhere, like a nomad. So mm, I that's just that's just not me. Although I've incorporated still about 20 hours in a day of hard dry fast, so or more. So I just take a bath in the morning or in the evening, and if I do not have face-to-face interaction in the morning, there are days that I don't take a bath anymore in the morning to maximize my dry fasting. So I actually dry fast most hours of the day as well, and just do soft dry fast just when I'm taking a bath. So cold shower already felt like a treat, and my sinuses then are very, very clear. And I don't know what's up with this sinuses right now, all acting up. And now that I'm already in my water fasting, maybe because they do not have any water to produce the other time that they can produce mucus, now that I'm doing water, taking water, it's now producing. And actually, that's one of the most important thing about dry fasting because it heals inflammation, and inflammation and mucus production will not happen or will only happen if it has ample amount of water. So water can actually fuel inflammation at some point. Eyesights are very clear. So seventh day, no cramps still, no weakness, and actually my seventh day is better than my sixth day. Although I easily become dizzy, but I was able to walk yesterday about 3 minutes back and forth, about 6 minutes all in all. And but I've been in bed 95% of the time, but felt really good mentally as long as I'm lying down. Okay. So comes this morning, I went out. So it was a long walk. And then I went around the city since it's a small town city. It's a small city, rather. I took my laboratory results, and actually I felt better than I did yesterday or the other days. Maybe it's already time that I was already fat adapted. I feel even that it was quite a waste to stop it here. But for now, since that's the plan, let's go. Actually, everything it is the thickness and the percentage of the red blood cells in comparison with my blood. It's actually a little high. So that is expected because my water concentration is low. But signs of dehydration will actually have someone having collapsed veins. So the veins that was taken was here. So when I ask, so supposedly they will have a hard time finding the vein if I'm really dehydrated. But no, my my tone of my blood vessels are so good. And this is quite interesting because for other people, they might be concerned still. But you know, if you, I know most of the viewers here in our episode and even in our in our YouTube channel, really knows that we don't fear hypoglycemia when we are fasting because our body can create its own using gluconeogenesis. So I think the lowest sugar I did before when I was on my around 10th day of fasting was around 76 or 72. So that is a low normal. And right now, this is my fasting blood sugar. These are fasting 90, that is 95. My liver are producing enough glucose for my day to day, and that's why there's no mental fog really. I was my header is very clear. My creatinine is important, and this is the thing. My blood level, my cholesterol is elevated, my HDL is low. First time in my life, this is the only time that my HDL is low. My LDL and triglyceride is also high, but not so LDL is high. So should I be afraid that this is increasing? Actually, no. This only confirms that I am now what I feel like I am fully fat adapted. So this is what confirms it. My blood cholesterol are all mobilized. It's now the fuel that my body is taking. So with normal fasting blood sugar and with me not craving for anything at all except for water that time, but actually it wasn't even craving, just thirst. It's now ava- made available. And now that I'm fueling on fats, that's also expected that my HDL is low because I am needing fats. This is what I'm fueling now. And my SGPT is also low. I like that. High normal. Nothing to be my mushroom. Okay. So that is how our body is amazing and how it can actually sustain such. And my urine, I also did my urinalysis. So it's just nothing. My pH is 5, dark yellow, turbid, which was expected. So there are a lot of, there's plus one protein, which I still need to investigate. Maybe from the breakdown of many things. No, nothing to be scared of. So there's concentrated urine because I forgot I need to have my urinalysis. So urine is very scarce when it comes to dry fasting. I only urinate 3 to 4 times. So morning, around lunchtime or afternoon, and then late in the evening. So when I passed my urine, I wasn't even sure if there's even urine because I just urinated coming from my place. But I'm happy I was able to submit, but it was not the best kind of specimen. But anyway, I was just looking for anything disturbing, but nothing disturbing in here. So what are the risks of doing a dry fast? So there's actually a lot of risk if you're not prepared. So you can have a it's really dark now. So you can have a risk of dehydration because your body is not yet adapted. So it might be excreting more water and electrolytes than your body needs because it's not used to not having intake every day. So for those with medical conditions, it can be life threatening if not done right. That's why it should be under a medical professional supervision or at least under the advice of your doctor. And so you just need to make sure that you are prepared. So before I forget, there's two types of dry fasting: the soft dry fasting, which I did. I allow myself contact with water as long as I don't take any by mouth. I don't drink anything. But with hard dry fasting, there's no contact with water. I'm not sure if I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that if I find a beautiful cave one day. But for now, I won't. So now we have, how about side effects? Just that the insomnia, the irritability if you're not mentally prepared, the weakness, the tiredness. So you make sure you are, if you are working, maybe you can not work for a while or have a vacation, take a leave or whatever, but don't jeopardize your everyday, what you do every day for that. So how to break your fast? So it's water. So I still have water here, so I will make some demo. I will drink this first. Okay. Mm, okay. So one of the most important, as usual, salt, magnesium, and then what I have here, because I'm transitioning, given that I'm transitioning into water fasting. And actually, that's quite good. It's not good to go directly from dry fasting into eating. So at least half of your time after dry fasting, you can proceed with water fasting. So I intend to do a 1 week dry fast and then 1 week water fast. So before this, but this is not the usual water fasting that's very, very clean water fasting, because this one is a transition from dry fasting. So I have magnesium, sodium, salt, of course, potassium, and this one, since I'm already moving to week two, I have a mixture of calcium, magnesium, and zinc. So anyway, this is a low dose magnesium plus the magnesium that's here. So that's actually about a little less from the RDA. And so I don't need to maximize the RDA of 400 because I'm not spending that much energy, I think. So yes. So the first, after breaking your dry fast with water, you can wait a little while. So there is this what we call as kidney shot. Okay? So kidney shot is it's a mixture from one of the things that we follow. Also, we have the snake diet. So if you've been in Life Without Rice, there is what we call a snake juice. So there's this man, Russian, I think. So another. So there's snake diet, but with dry fasting, and even coming from 1 day dry fasting, this is actually what they what they recommend. And even if I wasn't able to look up the research behind it, but since I'm up for it and I've been actually drinking it before, so why not? So I did this. So the first one is an apple cider vinegar. So that's 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So you can take this twice a day. So I already took one this morning. So I'll just, you can have, this is baking soda. I just got some from our home. You put half a teaspoon of baking soda. Okay. So you can see there. So that's that. And actually, it will sparkle. So you can just put about half a teaspoon. So it sparkles like that. That's what when I posted it, one member I think said in low carb feasting and fasting community that it looks like a beer. So you make sure you twist it because it reacts and it produces carbon. So it's like a carbonated drink, but salty. So personally, I like vinegar. I remember drinking vinegar when I was little, like 7 years old, and I was asking my mom, "Mom, can I have a cup of vinegar in a coffee cup? Can I drink?" That's how I like vinegar. And my mom, my ever dearest mom, even if she doesn't know if it's okay or all right, but she just trusts me at an early age, and she let me drink about half a cup of vinegar randomly on a day, and I'm okay. And I'm so happy that when I found out in our biochemistry book before that there's no record of daily limit of vinegar, because our body can actually benefit from it. So now this is no longer acidic. When you when you test this with pH, it's now a pH of 7. So that combination of 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, especially with the mother, so that is an organic one. Any other brands are okay as long as it's organic, not the ones that are processed. It doesn't says, I don't want to mention other brands. So just safe ones would be Rags, Organic Health, I think Dynamic Health, and I found one ACV Health. So all of those with the mother is okay. So now you drink it. So we use straw usually for our next drink because to protect our teeth. So that is just that. So you drink it in one go. Okay. Uh, so it's sour. It's vinegar, but neutralized by baking soda. So it's not that sour anymore. If you can't take that, you can add water. Okay. But I can take that. I've been drinking vinegar my whole life. So the second one. So this is what we say again, a kidney shot. I will try to do this for some of my family with calcium oxalates. This one was noted to actually resorb or neutralize the calcium oxalate stones in kidneys. So since these are all natural, so why not? And the second one would be 4 tablespoons of lemon juice or lemon concentrate. So this one is a 0 calorie lemon. So you don't use the concentrated ones with honey, molasses, or with sugar. Thick one. So this one is like water consistency. Okay. So it's good. I'm happy I was able to find one. So this one is the most important that spoon. But 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that, you can drink water. Just swish around your mouth a little to make sure that it doesn't leave any stain there to protect your teeth. But otherwise, you can drink. Okay? So, parang konti, no? So, a little until you drink it again in one go, and then you can just add your water. Okay? Ready? Ready? So, twice a day, morning and afternoon. You can do this right after breaking your fast. Even just a 1 day dry fast, you can do this to make sure that you're cleansing your kidneys as well. Because with dry fasting, you are eliminating so many toxins in your body that some might get stuck in your kidneys. So our kidneys is like a strainer, so it needs to be cleansed as well. And these ones are the cleanser for your kidneys. So for me, I think the toxins that are in our urine is true because my urine during that day is really, really foul smelling. Way, way foul smelling than my normal, not in longer dry fasting time. So it feels good that you are eliminating those. Okay? So here, cheers. Okay, so that's lemon. And after, you can just use some water to clean that, clean a little. And even if these are all fluids, it can push something in your bowel. So this morning, I had bowel movement. So I don't want to delve deeper to it because I know it will sound gross. But yes, that's expected. Other testimonials, I will tell you what others feel. So others feel pain in their legs, pain in their stomach. Some have a very, 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 very severe headache. There are others also experience sudden something like mm, unknown and cannot be differentiated kind of pain in wherever parts in their body. So dry fasting will actually tap on the areas of your body with injuries, okay? Or areas of your body that needs to heal. I think there's just one episode that I've had like a very, very bad headache, and I just lie down and sleep on it. And the moment I wake up, I feel so refreshed. Really, really good. So that is actually what dry fasting does. It will that my nose are somewhat stuffy. Some will even have breakouts. Some will even have boils. Yes, the boils coming out. So all of those nasty inflammation, dirts in our body will come out. And I'm so happy I didn't experience that. Maybe partly because I've been doing dry fasting beforehand, and somewhat even if I'm overeating, but I'm actually been eating somewhat clean, all low carb for since January. I think I've been remaining. The occasional high carb foods are very, very rare. So I'm happy that I don't have that much problem physically, medically, because I didn't experience all those. So mind you, that if you've been on unhealthy eating before dry fasting, your dry fasting period will be much worse, much more severe, and it will be even harder. So if you want to benefit from dry fasting, you would maybe you would consider actually going into clean low carb meals and easing up to dry fasting slowly. Sorry, excuse me, I've been burping again. So that by the time you do your extended dry fasting, it's actually smoother. It's not that hard. So the more toxins, the more dirt, the more healing you need in your body, the more worse you will feel. And you will really feel like you are about to give up because of that. But all of the testimonials, hundreds of them, thousands of them even, after they surpass that, if they don't give in, they feel the immediate relief. So, but if you can, so it's up to you. It's either you clean yourself first before going into dry fast, or you can even just go straight directly into dry fast without even cleaning yourself first, if you are willing to take all the pains that you need to do. But it will be scary. It will feel, sometimes you will feel like you you will die already, or all those, just for you to push your body to stop that. So it will also be hard because you won't differentiate from real danger or just healing kind of pain. So for the danger, you make sure that your heart rate is normal, you don't have any fever, you don't have difficulty of breathing, your heart rhythm is normal, so it's regular rather. So there are a lot of apps, even old phones. There is that sensor that you can check your oxygen saturation and your pulse and heart rate, if it's regular or not regular. So even if it's not 100% accurate, but you can somewhat gauge yourself. So if you have all those signs, palpitations, irregular heartbeats, abnormal heartbeats, like more than 110. So my heartbeat, when I monitored it, it's just around 64 to 68, 62 to 64 actually. So it's really low because my normal is just around 68 or 70. So it will lower down your pressure even more and lower down your heart rate even more. So that's that. So you have to know your normal, and you have to know when it is too much. You have to listen more to your body, and you have to trust that your body is healing, and you keep on praying, you keep on visualizing that all those toxins are slowly coming out, slowly going down. And again, dry fasting is not never, if possible, never to be used as for weight loss purposes. Okay, of course, weight loss is already a given. I don't know my weight right now because there's no weighing scale here. There's even no mirror here, so I don't know really. But during day 5, I think I've lost around 4 kilos already. But don't worry, around half of that will come back because of water weight. But let's see, it's okay. Of course, we can benefit from weight loss, and weight loss is just part of the inflammation in our body. But make sure that you are actually on the right mindset, that you are healing overall. Don't worry about weight loss, it will happen. Your weight will just normalize. If we can start, I understand also that sometimes physical aspect can be the easiest motivation to do things. So if that can make your mindset stronger to push through, then it's up to you. But just know that to make it sustainable, to make it beneficial in the long run, you have to know that this is not just a one-time thing. This is not just a like a tool that you will try or whatever, but it can actually help you become healthier to the best sense of the word. So fasting, it can remove toxins within your cells deep down that water fasting cannot do. Fat burning doubles. Your metabolic water is the cleanest form of water. It can help rest your kidneys because our kidneys need a break too. It is actually the total detox that can help you with your health, mental, physical. It can improve longevity. It can be the best form of healing, and a lot of so many others, like um, maximizing your potential, clearing all those Alzheimer's, all those misfolded proteins in your body. The autophagy maximizes out, so you can benefit from all those. So I think that's the most part of fasting, and especially dry fasting. I hope you get a little from it. I will. Let's make sure. Yes, this one is yeah, it's magnesium. So the other ones are just a refill. So apple cider vinegar with the mother, it's the organic side. So since it's made from US or usually imported, I've been actually thinking of using tuba vinegar or coconut vinegar, the pure one, the sap coming from the sap, not coming from the coconut water. But I will try next time. But I really intend to buy. But because I was in a hurry coming here, I wasn't able to buy. But I think that is equipotent or even better actually than ACV, apple cider vinegar, because we have bias. We are Filipinos, and coconut is one of our amazing magical tree that can offer us with so many things. So yes, I've been thinking about that, although most studies are just focused on apple cider vinegar. But yes, tuba vinegar is really a possible option. Okay. So for those with magnesium, that's only having 200 or 250. So you can take two, since our daily RDA, recommended daily allowance, is actually 400 to 600. So we can have a little extra from there. Okay. I will. I hope this is sorry. The I hope we were able to get all the message. If not, it's gonna be sad. But I hope it's okay. Anyway, I have another. I think I will have another lecture in a short while in here to my host, to the community here. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. So I will post this video in my YouTube channel. I hope you can watch, and you can subscribe if you can, and share this with everyone as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Fast as long as you can. And especially if you still have fats to fuel your fast, stay low carb when you eat so that we will all stay safe. Goodbye. Have a good evening.